On this episode of Motors, we get the Buick ready to gamble. All right, folks, you've seen it here, 1981 Buick Lesabre. She's equipped with a 307 Olds that's making a couple of random noises, buckled up to a 200R trans, it's limping along. We got the 31s on the rear, the stockies on the front. This hunk of junk is cobbled together, but it doesn't matter. It's for the Alabama Gambler 500. And we're running next weekend. We gotta get this thing ready at the last minute. Normally I just jump it off and call it good, but I'm gonna try to stretch it out for you and see if we can do a couple of little extra corrections. It smells like something died on the inside of it. We gotta figure out where that's coming from. I'm pretty sure leaving it wide open for a year out in the back lot here didn't really help it any. Now, if you haven't heard about the Gambler 500, you can go to gambler500.com and learn a little bit more about it. It's the nation's largest trail cleanup, and a lot of states are participating. I believe this is Alabama's third year to do it. And last year we took the trophy home, and maybe we'll do it again this year. Let's see if she'll fire up. Ooh, I'm not looking forward to this. Make sure there ain't no snakes in there. I was hoping that might have scared them out. Should I sit down on that? Yeah. Yeah, we'll go for a seat. All right. She's not even showing anything on my high-tech gauges. All right, well, let's get her jumped off. Which one's positive and which one's negative? They're both the same color. All right, so positive is negative. Better jumper cables. See if that does anything. All right, we're gonna have to let her sit there and idle for a little bit. All right, let's try it again without killing the battery. It hasn't been cranked in a year, so it's probably going to take a little while for fuel to get up to the carburetor. We'll see what happens. Ooh, that's real big. Had to wait a little bit longer. All right, what is this, round 3? Round 3. Heck yes! All our glory right there! Oh man, that's like 100 horsepower of fury right there. Glorious sound. Gotta get it warmed up and pull it around front. All right, we got her pulled around front here. She's running really bad. I think it's running on like 3 or 4 cylinders. You gotta hold it to the floor to keep it going. Every now and then it'll pick up all 8. I think I may have gotten a bunch of water in it from last year. There was a ton of off-roading and a lot of mud holes. I had to pull the distributor cap at least 3 or 4 times to get it running again last year. So I'm gonna guess if I open that up, there's gonna be some corrosion in there, but we'll see. If that's not the case, maybe a carburetor issue. I'm gonna check some of the suspension on it and make sure nothing broke. Show you my custom fab job on the rear, my custom tennis ball shocks. But let's get started. I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw the battery on a tender while I'm doing the rest of it. Let's go ahead and yank the old battery out. You know, most of the times I do this, I end up slinging the wrench into the car on the positive and grounding myself out. I'll try to avoid that this time. I'm sure a lot of you have done it before. If you have, throw your experience in the comments. That tie down wasn't doing anything. All right, there she is. All right, let's see if we can pop this distributor cap off here. Well, I think I may have already found a problem. It's not supposed to do that. Well, we'll see where we stand in a second. Well, there's definitely some little bit of corrosion there, but not enough to make it run like that. But that distributor is real loose. I think we're going to wait until we get the battery charged up and see if we might have had a timing issue the whole time. Probably going to go ahead and change out the cap and rotor just for good measure. Be back in a bit. All right, I got the Googles pulled up here. Looks like the firing order on this one's going to be 18436572. Went ahead and labeled my wires, that way I'll know where to stick them with ease when I put it back together. So we're going to go ahead and get them ripped off, get the cap off, get a new, semi-new cap and rotor on there, and pull the battery off the charger and see what we got. A little worse than I thought. Still not completely terrible, but we'll see what happens. All right, let's get the rotor button off here. Take a look at it. It's not terrible. Normally I'd just go throw a brush on that, but see what we got laying around. All right, we found a few spares in the shop. I went ahead and ripped this one off of the Camaro because that one's not going back together anytime soon. This was some other spares we had. Found a couple of ignition modules. Those are always good to keep in the glove box on these HEIs. Of course, I don't know if these are good or bad because I never seem to throw them away when they're bad. I just throw them in the pile with the good ones and they get mixed up. One thing I did notice on the two that I pulled, this one that came off the Camaro and this one that came out of this car, both buttons are designed a little bit different. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right, so something just didn't seem right with the button I took off of the Camaro, so I went ahead and sanded down the one that we have that already came off the Buick. That ought to create a good spark at least. So I'm gonna get that installed. I'm gonna throw the cap off of the Camaro onto the Buick. We'll leave the oil all inside of it for lubrication. That's a joke, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Be right back. All right, we got the button on. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the cap on. All right, I got the cap sat down on there. I'm gonna button it down, but first I wanted to show you with one of the other ones, a lot of these got this twist style. And you just push, twist, and it locks it down onto the body of the distributor there. So let's go ahead and get it fastened. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start throwing the spark plug wires on. Now remember, I numbered them. May have to pull up the old Googles, get my firing order again. If I remember correctly, one started over here. And two was on the back side of it. Get Google pulled up and see where my firing order is. 1843657 is correct, Dale. See, old people are good to keep around every now and then. That's a 6. 5. 1843. 1, 3. All right, let's get our power plugged in, and we'll figure out what's going on there with the distributor. I think the shafts wore out. We'll see what happens. All right, I got the battery back in it. Let's see if it runs any better. Nope, still sounds like a diesel. All right, well, let's see where we go from here. Not a whole lot of a difference, slightly better. I wanted to show you the distributor here. She's just happy, she's dancing around. I don't think he's supposed to do that. Might have a vacuum leak somewhere.
Just a big playpen.
All right, Oliver's gonna strap the car down for us. We're gonna get it over to the house. That way I can work on it after work as I please. We don't have a whole lot of time to get it ready. I mean, we got like 5 days left. So I'm gonna try to figure out what the deal is here, and we'll see what happens. All right, it's like 12 in the afternoon. I just woke up. It's a Sunday. Had a long night last night. Old T-Bone. Still hanging out. Gonna get him off the trailer and see if we can fix it. Now, before I take old T-Bone off the trailer, wanted to show you my custom lift. How's that for pro right there, baby? Unbreakable. Is that beautiful or what? Let's go to Walmart, get you some tennis balls, break out the welder. No need to buy a fancy lift. All right, real weird. Got her off the trailer and up here to the top of the drive, and she seems to be running okay now. Maybe the gambler gods are working in my favor. Time to get another trophy. Going fine now. Distributor's still dancing. That's okay though. She may have some bushings left. Who knows? Idle's high. I could probably try to idle her back down and see if it'll stay on all 8. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and pull the fuel filter, replace it, tighten the distributor down, and maybe pull the air fuel mixture screws off of the carb here and shoot some air in there, because I know I can turn them all the way in and it's still not doing anything. So that tells me I got something stopped up and it's pulling from somewhere else. But usually on these Carburetor style carburetors, you can pull these air mixture fuel screws out and just shoot some air in there, clean out all the passages and stick them back in, and 9 times out of 10 it works. So we'll go from there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pull the mixture screws out and shoot some air in those passages. See if we can clear it out. I always like to check the needles on these for any scoring. You can tell that it sat for a good while before I had it. There's just oxidation marks on the tips of the needles. All right, then we just take our air hose. Fuel! Fuel! Call that clear. Throw them back in. Now you want to turn these in until they're lightly seated. You don't want to crank them down. You crank them down, you can damage it. And then you'll never be in adjustment. So I'm going to get these cranked down right until I feel it 0 lash. About right there. And right there. And then my base, I'm just going to pull it out about 3 turns. And that's always a good starting point. Then you can fire it up and adjust it in from there until the motor sounds like it's idling where it's happy. Some people use a vacuum gauge, but I just go by ear. All right, we got the old fuel filter off. It's looking really clean, actually. I'm gonna go ahead and put one of these clear ones on, especially for going off road. You wanna be able to see if you've got fuel issues or not, if you're having trouble in the trail. This just makes it a little bit easier. All right, so let's go ahead and get it cranked up. I got the new fuel filter on, got the distributor tightened down about where it needs to be, and we're gonna go ahead and adjust our air fuel. Now you want to keep them pretty even while you're adjusting. What you do to one side, you might want to do to the other. Just kind of help keep it balanced out. Every time you make an adjustment, you want to give it some throttle and clear it out. Let it start over. Now when you're adjusting this, when you take it in, you want to hear for that engine to start stumbling. And Once it stumbles just the slightest hair, you turn it out about another quarter to a half turn back out. And that's about where you want to be. I think we'll call that good. Now for those of you that don't like timing lights, like me, just turn the vehicle off, let it sit for a second, try to crank it back up. If it has trouble cranking or feels like it's under load, you got too much advance or it's too retarded. Just turn it whichever direction you think it may need to go. Turn it off, try it again. Once she snaps off with the key, you're good to go. Give her a second. All right, let's see what it does. Just slightly a little too advanced, but that's maybe 2 or 3 degrees out. It's the Gambler, man. I don't care. It's good. All right, now that we're about where I think it needs to be, go ahead and throw this old crusty air cleaner back on and feed it some hot dogs. Oh yeah, there is one more thing I was going to do before I close the hood. All right, now she's good. All right, let's shut the hood and take it on a test drive. All right. Oh yeah. Make sure we got oils, bolts, temps. And we're off. You know, I should probably change the oil on this. Oh, it's glory. Uh-oh. That's good. That's good. That's all right. The neighbors are staring. Seems to be cruising. Oh, there's old Dustin's race car. He finished second last night. Congrats, Dustin. If you've never seen Dustin Knowles race, you ought to. That man could drive. She seems to be tip-top shape for a ragged out 81 Buick. So we'll get her back to the house. Good. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Metters Motors. We still got a couple of things we need to do on T-Bone here, like change the oil and clean the interior out, stuff you really don't want to see. If you like what you saw so far, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. And if you're part of the Gambler 500, drop your build in the comments. I'd like to see what you got going on. Next time you see T-Bone, she's going to be full of Busch Light and gas station hot dogs.